Hello, and welcome to our 6 a.m. Pacific time daily devotional practice, a moment of spiritual contemplation inspired by the book 365 Science of Mind, A Year of Daily Wisdom by Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of the organization known as Centers for Spiritual Living. You can find out more information about our organization by visiting our website, csl.org. Today's reading is different in tone from yesterday morning's reading. Today, for the October 25th reading, not 25th, 26th, October 26th reading is more contemplative and peaceful, whereas the 25th reading was more declarative and bold. So this particular reading deals with going into our spiritual wisdom center during times when trouble confronts us. So that's very helpful to think about it. And in it, Dr. Holmes talks about the law of mind. And as a faithful servant, he talks about it. And so for people in our tradition, those words are familiar to them. But for people from outside our tradition, the words may need some explanation. The law of mind describes how things happen, how things come to pass. Some people may call that the Holy Spirit or the way of things. And either way, it is considered to be a very precise, orderly process and impersonal in that it works the same for you as it does for me, for somebody who is wealthy or somebody struggling, for old or young, or as it says in the Bible, the sun shines on all alike and the rain is caused to fall on everybody without discrimination. So that is the way of the law. And then there is another phrase in the reading today that Dr. Holmes is very fond of using in various forms when he talks about how everything in creation is both governed by this spiritual law, but at the same time, everything in creation is governed by the love of creation. And perhaps he gets that from Robert Browning, the poem that Robert Browning wrote, Saul, in which he says, "All's love, yet all's law." The idea that it's not either or, it's not a mechanical spiritual law that governs us, but it is also warm and, well, loving, in that it embraces itself through us in this creation. So there's a lot to unpack there, and that is why in our education systems we have whole classes dedicated to unpacking the way of spiritual law or the law of mind. How does it work? Throughout this year, as we've been reading Dr. Holmes, you may have noticed his use of the word tend, how the law of mind tends to do this, how the creative use of our mind tends to result in that. And I love that gentle approach. I love stepping back from a too dogmatic black and white way of understanding spirituality to look instead to what tends to happen when you and I spend 10 minutes every single day for a whole year contemplating spiritual ideas. What tends to happen? What tends to happen when I let my thought dwell more frequently on how I'm connected to all of creation? And those tendencies, as we look at them, they begin to grow into deep conviction. That is my belief. As we create a system of confidence in ourselves from the tendencies that we've set in motion. Today's reading, my soul is at peace. When a problem confronts me, I take it into the silence, into the silence of my awareness, into my consciousness. And I let myself think about the answer. I let myself be open to an answer. And it is the living spirit within me that guides me in this process. The living spirit counsels me with its wisdom. Indeed, it is the living spirit that holds me in everything that I do. And I have a growing sense, a growing confidence that every time I recognize this living spirit within me as my guiding star, as my star of hope, as my source of assurance, as my certainty, that every time I recognize it, I develop a stronger confidence in its activity, in my awareness, and in my life. And at the same time, I recognize also that the law of mind, the spiritual laws of the universe, they act on my behalf, responding to me as I bring my thought resolutely to love. I know today, as I move about the world, I do so with a little more freedom because of my recognition of the living spirit within me and its law. A little more freedom. I move through the world and I feel the movement of spiritual love in my life. And I also know that everything is governed by this love and made to happen through the law, the spiritual law of the universe. Today I am aware that I am one with all of creation and one with all people, and I come back to that thought over and over today. And in times when I cannot reconcile the thought or understand it completely, I let myself rely on the living spirit within me, which does understand. I let myself rely on the living spirit with complete confidence. And every time a problem presents itself, I take a moment to lay it aside so that I may consult with the living spirit, its peace. And I say to myself, my soul is at peace. I rejoice in the eternal movement of the thoughts of the living spirit through me. I rejoice in the movement and energy of the living spirit through my affairs. And with a breath, I bring this moment of contemplation to its close, taking a moment to observe my environment and all the people on the call and feel my connection to you and feel my gratitude for having, or the privilege of having, a safe spot, a warm spot in the world in which to sit and contemplate peace. And I take to heart that the work I'm doing is not for myself alone, but for all of creation. And I remember to let the peace that I contemplate today translate into peaceful, harmonious, kind hearted actions so as to build a world that works for everyone. Have a blessed day.